Hey YouTubers, Raven here.
Starfire.
We're back!
Yeah, we are.
Oh, it was a long break. It was a nice break. But it was long. I started a gameplay, so you guys could go check that out. But tonight we're talking about The Flash!
Season 5, Episode 10, Spin Out.
Yes.
Which is actually an appropriate name for the episode, because
Right?
the car does spin out a lot.
Mm-hmm. And everyone thought the spin out was referring to the one that can make you feel like you're walking, like that your equilibrium is off.
Yeah.
Top or something like that was her name.
Oh.
Remember? She was with the Mirror Master guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a spinning top.
Yeah, because she made your equilibrium off, so you're like really off kilter.
Yeah.
So
off balance.
Yeah. So a lot of people thought spin out was referring to her, because she's been seen on set.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't. Which makes me glad that we didn't have another entire episode devoted to her character, because I find her boring. But yeah, I enjoyed tonight's episode a lot, actually.
Yeah, it was really good. I mean, it felt like it was kind of filler to me.
Yeah.
But
definitely.
that doesn't mean that it was any less good just because it was.
It was character development.
Yeah, there was character development.
Joe obviously travels a lot.
They always have to come up with some reason.
No, okay, he was in the States with the baby visiting, like, some family member, and then at the end, like, she's like, I went to Fiji instead of Tibet. And it's like, wait a second.
Why would he take a baby to Fiji?
No, he wasn't in Fiji. He was in Tibet.
Oh.
Or with the baby. I would rather take the baby to Fiji than Tibet.
Why would he go all the way to Tibet with the baby?
Apparently there's more family in Tibet. And I'm like...
What, is she Chinese?
I don't know. I'm just like... I swear, I looked at the screen, and in my head, because I didn't say it out loud, I was like, how... That flight takes hours, if not a day or whatever?
Right?
Like,
what the heck would he be doing in Tibet with a baby if there's no family?
Like, and not only that, okay, this entire episode took place within a 24-hour span.
Yeah.
Because at the end of it, he was able to come out and be able to walk.
Right.
And at the beginning, he wasn't because of what happened.
Right.
And it took 24 hours for it to wear off. I'm sorry, but you were visiting family in the States. And then you're magically in Tibet. Are you like...
Well, maybe the family he was visiting were on the East Coast. And so the flight took a little bit less time than it would have if they were, like, on the other coast.
Right.
So,
but I mean,
maybe it took less than 24 hours.
Cecile did try to use one of those gadget things that Cisco cooked up so they could travel. Mm-hmm. So maybe that's what he's using.
But I just don't understand why he would go that far of a distance with a baby when there's no family there. Like, I'm assuming that there's not family in Tibet, unless they originally lived in the States, and now they're currently living in Tibet, because I don't think that they're Chinese.
No.
So, why would he go to Tibet unless he was visiting family for a vacation? Because he's got a baby with him. That's not going to be much of a vacation. No. I'm sorry.
Baby's not going to enjoy historical sites.
Like... she's not gonna remember them, especially at the age that she is. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know.
and I know Cecile was planning on visiting him and the baby, you know.
Yeah.
But I would not complain about getting stuck in Fiji instead of Tibet. I am sorry.
Isn't Fiji like beaches, though?
Yes, it's a vacation getaway.
Again, why would he go to either one of those places unless he was visiting family? If he wanted to go on a vacation, he should have not taken the baby with him. I don't even understand.
Well, I mean, it's Cecile's first week or so back, so he was giving her a break.
Well, yeah, I understand that, but
the
still,
baby.
I still don't understand why he would go that far
I don't know
with
that.
the baby. Like, at least stay in the States.
Right.
Like, you know, I mean, I don't know. That's just my opinion, but I wouldn't want to take however many months old baby she is to a place like Fiji, which is kind of a romantic getaway for people, or to Tibet.
Right. Which is a great place if you're going there to look at ancient ruins and stuff.
So I don't
But
understand.
Not for a baby.
I'm confused.
Right? No.
I mean, like I said, unless he has family that live in Tibet, but they're not actually from Tibet, like they're just living there for some reason, then that's a little bit more understandable.
Yeah.
But if there's no family there and he just randomly decides to go to Tibet for a vacation, that doesn't make any sense to me, especially with a baby. So.
I don't. Why? Okay, I'm done.
I don't even know.
I can't.
I'm just gonna be repeating myself, and I don't want to keep doing that.
Right. So continue with your high points.
Well, I mean, I liked seeing the character development with Cisco. Kind of. Who were you thinking of?
I was okay. I know I hated her a lot in this episode.
Nora.
Yes.
Yeah, Nora too.
Yeah.
And just the fact that like I felt like they did a really good job of parenting in this episode too. Like even Barry said that, like at one point. And that she went to him for that because Iris was like, he's given more second chances than anybody I've ever met. Mm-hmm. And, he doesn't have any reason to necessarily, but he does because that's the kind of person he is.
Right.
And, when she asked about Thawne, I was like, I didn't know what he was going to say.
Right. I was like, he's going to say no. I thought
he was going to get this, look on his face and, clench his jaw or do something like that to where, he was like, well, I don't know about Thawne.
Right.
But
I never give Thawne a second chance.
Yeah, but I mean, I was surprised by his answer. I was actually impressed because I'm like, he really has grown and changed. Because if you'd asked him that, a couple seasons ago, he would have said no. Mm-hmm. So the fact that he thinks that he can now, that is character growth.
Yes.
And, I think that he's right, heroes always should try to see the good in people. And
if he hadn't seen the good in Snart, then Snart wouldn't have been there to save the universe.
Right. I mean, and like he said, if nobody believes in you, or if you don't have anybody to believe in you, who will? Or if nobody believes, then who will? Mm-hmm. You have to believe in somebody. You have to know that deep down they are a good person and they can do good, and they just need somebody to listen to them and believe in them. Mm. And so the fact that Nora took that and was like, okay, I'll listen to you, I'll give you a second chance, that was really great.
Yeah.
With Cisco, I probably would actually say that I was more annoyed.
Yes.
Because, first off, I mean, I didn't necessarily understand at first. I thought that it would actually, just make everybody not have their powers anymore, but it makes sense that you would inject it. But yeah, I'm glad that Caitlin talked to him and they, decided to make it a choice for the person if they wanted to keep their powers or not. Because I think that that's fair. I think that they should be able to make that decision because it's something that's going to change their life and who they have been for however long.
Right.
So they need to be able to make that decision of whether or not they want to have that taken away from them. And, you know, I wanted him to, like, realize that, you know, even though things would be better and things would be different, like, even if they were, they might not be as good as you have them right now. Like, you know, I mean, okay, so he doesn't have a girlfriend or he doesn't have a family, but, like, he's helping them because he has vibe powers. Like, you know, he can still have those things and have his powers.
Yeah.
I mean, look at Barry. Like, you know, it's not impossible just because he has powers for him not to have that stuff.
Yeah, but he also, like he said, he wanted it to be where his wife and kids wouldn't have to worry about whether or not Daddy's going to come home.
Yeah.
Because he's off saving the world.
True.
I mean, they don't have to worry about that. You could quit being a superhero even though you have powers.
True, and he could use his powers in different ways. Ways that would keep him out of danger.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know, it's not, I mean, that's sometimes hard to do though, because it just depends on the type of job that you have, or it depends on, like, your lifestyle. I mean, if you have a job that makes it so that you have to save the world or you have to go out in the thick of it and, you know, risk your life, then yeah, there's always going to be that constant fear of whether you come home or not.
Right.
But that doesn't mean that your family still won't be there for you and love you and support you. They just have to worry about possibly being without you someday.
Right. I mean, it would be the same if you were a cop in the
Exactly.
army.
Exactly. Like, that's the way I was thinking about it and going about it. Like, dude, that's kind of hard because, you know, even if you didn't want to have your powers, like, you might get into doing something else because you're a scientist and inventing things that might cause you to get in trouble. That might cause something to happen where you
could be an explosion.
Exactly.
And you die.
Exactly. Or somebody could be out to get you or your family or something. So there's always going to be those possible threats that can happen no matter what you do or whether you have powers or not.
I'm sorry, but he was kidnapped by Leonard Snart long before he had powers so that he could create the gold gun.
Right. So, like, you know,
or fix it.
You know, if you know certain people and they have a vendetta against that other person, you're in danger, your family's in danger. Like, it just depends. It doesn't, you know, so, I mean, I think his logic there was, like, flawed. And I know that he was going about it in an emotional way and he was letting that cloud his judgment. But at the same time, like, you know, you can't always control that stuff.
Yeah. And once it gets made, I'm sorry, but you're not going to be the sole people who use it.
Yeah.
And then the question will come where everyone who's arrested that has meta powers will be given that. And even though they're bad people, well, some of them are just like Weather Witch, who just happen to make a wrong choice.
Yeah.
Like, don't take her powers. She's not a bad person.
Right.
She could help you in the future. She could change her ways, which she obviously is doing.
And I mean, because of what Nora did, yeah, she made an outburst and she wasn't necessarily doing the testify in the way that she should have been. But it got the girl to confess.
Yeah.
And say that she was guilty.
Right.
And that's what they wanted. So,
well, they wanted to give her a lighter sentence.
They did. And she probably still would have gotten the lighter sentence because Cecile wanted to do that. But I don't know. At least she, you know, it got to the point where she knew that what she did was wrong and she wasn't necessarily going to do it again. And yeah, like, what you're saying is true.
Just like, I mean, the moment she's arrested, if they had that serum, then she would have been given that. Or the staff would have been fixed somehow with the technology.
And sometimes, like, that can completely alter alter them as a person, too, if you get rid of it. Because it's become, like, the powers have become such an inherent part of, like, their DNA and, like, who they are as their identity, that if that's taken away from them, they don't have anything.
Yeah.
So, you know, and maybe their life before they had powers wasn't good. And maybe having the powers has actually helped them to be a successful part of society or
like
do
Ralph.
Something good. Yeah. So, you know, you have to take those kinds of things into consideration. Yeah, you want to save the world. Yeah, you want to stop the bad people. But there's a lot of factors that come into play when you do stuff like that, especially when you're like making something, because if it gets into the wrong hands, it can cause all kinds of chaos.
Yeah.
So, you know, you have to be careful with that kind of thing.
And I also didn't like how Cisco only mentioned the particle accelerator explosion and the satellite explosion. Yeah. Those were not the only two instances in which you allowed black matter to enter the fracking city, you damn it. But.
Dumbass.
Yes.
Starfire, keeping it
real. Because, I'm sorry, please explain to me again how Jessie got her powers. That wasn't confined to Star Labs.
No.
There was a second generational wave of black matter, dark matter, whatever the hell you want to call it.
Right. Well, was that a different timeline or no?
No. Yeah, that was the dinosaur episode.
Okay.
When Barry was
like
trapped
3 seasons ago.
Yeah, Barry was trapped in the Speed Force with his mom, Speed Force mommy, reading him the dinosaur baby book.
Yeah.
And
which was
it was so good. But remember, that's when Wally started being like, maybe I can have my powers. Maybe I can have my powers. Yeah. And no. Because that was season 2, I think.
Season 2.
Because he was so excited about having his powers because
it was before Flashpoint, I know that.
No. Barry came back and told him you had powers. You had my powers and helped save the world with your sister.
I think the dinosaur episode was before Flashpoint.
I don't.
Because Flashpoint was the first episode of season 3.
Was it season 3?
Yes.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure that the dinosaur episode was like episode 20 of season 2 or something like that. 20 or 21 of season 2.
Okay.
I'll check right now.
But I mean, that's how.
Yep, the runaway dinosaur was episode 21 of season
2. Okay. Maybe. Then I don't know why he would be so upset about not getting powers.
Because season 3, episode 1 is Flashpoint.
Oh. So, and no one had shown powers from that wave yet. So, he was thinking, maybe I get my powers because the wave went through, and then that's when Jessie started getting her powers.
Yeah.
He's like, I can get mine, and then he's like, no.
Did the wave scene actually happen in that episode?
In the dinosaur episode?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, because that's when they brought him back, and when he came back is when the wave came out.
Okay.
And it knocked them on their asses.
I just remember the Barry and Iris stuff in that episode, so I don't remember everything else that occurred. I just remember being super excited about it because we were going to get some great Barry and Iris stuff. And, yeah.
No, Wally and Jessie were walking down the corridors flirting. Attempting to flirt because it was in their cute and maybe not days.
Well, they won't be pining.
Right.
Flirty banter.
Yes.
Yeah,
and then they were just, woof, the wave came through the hall and knocked them
remember
down.
that. I just didn't remember that it was in that episode.
And it spread out into the city again.
Yeah.
So
I don't know why Cisco failed to mention that.
That actually really pissed me off. Because how could a character whose responsibility it was for creating all those metas, there was a new wave of metas because of him. Specifically him, because he created the technology to do that.
Yep. That's what I'm saying. I know you want to create a serum that can stop Cicada and can save the world, but you gotta be careful. Because more chaos could ensue.
Yeah. I don't know.
Not saying it isn't a good idea.
Right.
You just have to contain it more so that bad things don't happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And, Okay, I was legit mad at freaking hell.
Sherlock.
No. I'm forgetting her name now for some weird
Nora?
reason. Yes. I don't know why I blanked on her name.
Nora West Allen.
Yes, I know. But I was so mad at her when she turned her over and like, villains don't change, and I'm like, who the F are you?
I'm like, okay, I know that you're like pissed and you're just trying to save, do the good thing, but you also need to take into consideration, like, she might be telling the truth. You need to listen to her side of it and, you know, realize that, yeah, she didn't make some very good choices, but she's not a bad person.
Yeah. I mean, yes, she was kind of still reeling from the fact that she just found out that Eobard was responsible for her grandma's death.
Yeah.
But
that doesn't mean that everybody's
she's trusted Eobard for most of her life.
Right.
He's been training her.
Yeah.
And
so it's like with Barry, with Wells, like, he was betrayed too.
By the same person.
Exactly. So, you know, somebody who's your mentor and who you look up to, of course that's going to hurt.
Right. So it's, I can understand where she's coming from, but at the same time, she should have realized that she was just, it was a transfer thing.
Yeah.
And, like, she's a scientist, she should know this crap.
Yeah, well, apparently scientists don't always make the best choices on this show.
They don't usually. Period.
Sorry, not sorry.
But I actually really like what Sherlock is doing.
Yeah. It's giving him something to do,
right?
Instead of just sitting around being Sherlock. Like, every time he says something that's like obvious, though, I totally want to say no shit, Sherlock.
Right?
Because it's like, it's just there. Like, I need to say it.
It is. But I desperately wanted him to tell Barry, well, your daughter made it.
Yeah.
You know, that's your daughter's language.
Well, apparently in some of the upcoming episodes, there's probably going to be, like, that stuff's probably going to come out about Nora. So they're going to learn that information.
Yeah.
Within the next few episodes, I think. So, at least from, like, some of the stuff I was seeing on Tumblr that were, like, spoilers for, like, some of the upcoming episodes.
Right. So. Now, the interesting thing that I've been hearing, because I've been watching over the break, I have watched some of Paige's things, some of his, like, reviews or whatever. He does the CW superhero shows like we do. But he does, I know this is putting our channel down, but he does such an amazing job. He does so much better than we do.
We don't have, like, professional equipment.
Oh, yeah.
We're literally just sitting in my room, using a laptop, and talking about a show.
Yeah.
Like, we don't have all of the professional equipment to make it look nice. We don't get money for doing this. We just give our thoughts. Yes. Because it's something we like doing.
Yes. But, like, he's one of those that's able to, like, take clips from the show and put, like, the entire,
if I knew how to do that, I'd do that. But I don't.
Exactly.
I don't think I have the right editing software to do that.
Yeah. All my stuff is free. I don't pay for anything. But he was talking about how there's some theories going around that, like, you know how in the last episode, when Barry took Nora through time, and, okay, I know that wasn't the last episode, because the last episode was the crossover, but y'all know I mean the last standalone episode. They went I'm not editing that.
Sorry. At least it was a verb.
Yeah.
And I excused myself.
Yes.
I was polite.
Yes.
I didn't try to hide it.
So, how Eobard was like, you must be Dawn.
Mhm.
And then he's like, well, at least you have one of them. Or,
Yeah.
at least you still have one.
Mhm.
And some people were speculating that maybe that's him saying, well, at least you still have one Nora in your life. Or him saying, at least you still have one child.
Mhm.
Which is what I took it to mean. But that being because of everything that screwed up the timeline, him only having Nora could be a product of Nora dying earlier than she was supposed to. Because we all know that Barry was created, that the Flash was created before he was meant to be.
Mhm.
That was the whole Eobard thing. And that could have created the future where Dawn and Dawn weren't born. And so we don't know what future where Dawn and Dawn were born.
Mhm.
Maybe they could still have been born, but then Flashpoint happened, or one of those things happened.
Mhm.
That, like, maybe it's Savitar, maybe it's something that made it so Dawn and Dawn weren't born. And they had a daughter, and so instead of naming that daughter Dawn, they named her Nora because Nora died when she wasn't supposed to, so they paid homage to Nora.
Yeah.
There's also the theory that even though that happened, Nora could just be their older sister. They could have 3 children eventually.
Oh.
They could eventually have the twins after Nora.
I like to think that they're still going to.
Well, I mean, at this point in time, they can't because he's still missing in the future.
Yeah.
But if he were to come back, they could still potentially have the twins if she saved him. Because what it looks like at this moment, if Barry disappears, he's still having Nora.
Because what's the next crossover going to be called? It's about the Crisis, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that means that next year around this time, it's going to be dealing with the Crisis.
The 2024.
Yeah.
Which means that they're going to have to do a massive as hell time skip.
Yeah. If Nora's still on the show at that point.
Even if she's not still on the show at that point, they have to do a time skip.
No, I know, but I mean, like, to explain, her being a part of everything. If that's what they're doing.
Right.
Like, if that's where it's leading.
Yeah. And there's also speculation that Nora will not survive the
cicada thing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we'll see. I don't know if she's just on it for this season, if she's going to continue to be on it.
Even if she survives cicada, she won't. The person we know won't survive.
Yeah.
Because she's become this person that Nora was never meant to be.
Yeah.
And so going back to where she's from, everything that she has created that wasn't supposed to happen, that happened, will change the future. So therefore, the person she was when she was 5 is a different person than she is when she's 5 now because of something she changed back here. So then when she turns whatever the hell age, 20, 21, whatever age she is, right? When she traveled back in time and when we see her now, when she turns that old, that the version of her that is born now because of her in the past won't be the same person when she turns that age to travel back in time. They will be different people. than they were when she was that old. They're two different people now. Because she has changed the timeline so much once she traveled back in time that things will happen in a different way in the future that will make her a different person.
Mhm.
So when she goes back to take her place again, the timeline will eventually catch up to her and she won't be herself anymore. She'll be the new version of Nora.
Yeah.
So even if she goes back in time, back to the future, or if she dies, Nora will not be the Nora we know.
You can send me back from the future, but I'm back from the future. Anyway, there's on the Iris and the Flash Tumblr that I like follow or am part of, like they posted a quote that was done by like one of the like producers, writers of the show. And he was saying that we know Nora is going to get pretty seriously injured by Cicada in upcoming episodes. So how do Barry and Iris handle that as parents? You know, Barry went through the same thing in season 2 when Zoom broke his back. So it's just now he's on the other side of it. He's on the Henry side. It's a little bit different once you become a parent. The emotional response to your child getting injured versus when you get injured. Everything's amped up quite a bit. The anger, the vengeful feelings, all of that is at 2 with Barry and Iris. But then, like, with every scenario we put these guys in, it speaks to their relationship. The great thing about Iris and Barry is when one of them is sort of unhinged, the other one is the calming side of it. So you just get to see them and how they react as parents and how they help each other.
Yeah. Because we see in the preview for next week that Cicada has Nora. He has access in his hand, and he poof right in the middle of her back.
Yeah.
I was scared that it was the dagger and he was stabbing her.
Yeah.
I was like, he just cut her spine. She'll never walk again.
She won't have her speed anymore.
But also, I mean, she does have speed healing, so she'd heal. But then the dagger could leave shards, so that she'd lose her power.
I mean, that's what happened with Cisco.
Yeah.
It was taking away his power. It wasn't, like, dampening it. It was actually taking away his powers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So...
This is the whole interview, but that was just part of it.
Right.
Anyway, if you want to read it, it's a TV Guide interview that Todd, what's his name? Todd Helbing or something like that. He's a showrunner. He talks.
It's
he
a
does
TV
an interview.
Guide interview.
Yeah. Because it says the Flash boss teases what we'll learn from young Nora episode.
Young Nora episode. So we're gonna get to see Nora when she's younger. We're gonna get to see her in the past.
Yeah, it says the Flash recently revealed that Nora has secretly partnered with the Reverse Flash in the future, but the reasons behind that team up are still unknown. We'd like to believe that Nora has the best of intentions, but we doubt Barry and the rest of Team Flash will see it that way when and if they discover who she's working with. And they said that they spoke with the showrunner to find out when and how we'll discover Nora's true motives and how Thawne's role in the murder of Barry's mother will shift their dynamic moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
So it says, this is the person asking the question. How soon are we going to start learning about the context of the partnership Nora has formed with Eobard Thawne? And then he said, we get the dynamic pretty quickly. You sort of learn what their relationship is and how Thawne has helped her personally. And then we go back to them quite a bit in the back half of the season, so you'll slowly start to get the full picture of how everything came to be. We want to do sort of a flash forward flashback episode where you get the complete picture.
Okay, so eventually we'll get an entire episode where we see Nora in the future.
Yeah.
Becoming who she is.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to be interesting. I highly look forward to that.
Oh yeah.
Seeing how
like anytime there's like backstory, or flashback to that kind of stuff, like I like that kind of stuff because I always love learning more about the characters and like what makes them who they are.
Yeah.
So anytime they do something like that, I'm just like, yes.
Yeah.
So, and it says, how will the knowledge that Thawne killed Barry's mom change the dynamic between Thawne and Nora? I think that whole experience in episode 8 gave her the full picture, or 90% of the picture of Thawne. And the sort of torment of the way he disrupted Barry's life and just the evil nature of this guy. So yeah, it shifts a lot. We'll deal with that in episode 10, which is the one we saw tonight. I I think even Thawne's a little shocked that she didn't know that that was the case.
Yeah, he seems sincerely surprised.
Yeah, it definitely puts a dent in their relationship in a big way. And they're like, in regards to that flashback episode, can you tease what we're going to see from young Nora? We did see a young version of her in the Flash Museum in the trailer.
Mm-hmm.
And he says that one in particular is a really fun episode. It's Barry and Iris and Nora. They're in the same place but different at the same time. And so their experiences are different, which is fun.
That made close to no sense, but also made sense.
Yeah, they're like, they're in the same place but different at the same time. And so their experiences are different, which is fun.
They're in the same place, but it's not the same place at the same time.
They're like, whenever Nora's secret partnership does get revealed to Team Flash, how can we expect them to react to the news that she's been working with Barry's arch nemesis? Again, after episode 8, now that she has a much more detailed explanation and understanding of what and who Thawne is and how he's played into the lives of Team Flash, Nora's not too quick to explain that she's working with this guy. She's doing her best to try to hide it, but Sherlock, he knew something was off with her story since day one, so he is slowly starting to put the pieces together. It's a race between the two of them before Team Flash is going to discover what's happening.
Mm-hmm. And I don't think that... See, we know what Barry said tonight about forgiveness, but it's not going to happen. He's not going to be able to do it.
Well, if he could do it with Thawne, he can do it with Nora.
No, he's not going to be able to do it with Thawne. He's going to be way too mad at Nora to forgive Thawne.
Yeah.
They're going to have a thing. It's
they are, yeah. Especially because he's her dad.
Mm-hmm.
It makes it more,
Yeah. This dude killed your grandma and you're friends with him?
I just wanted to learn more about my parents. I'm sorry.
Well, you weren't around to teach me, Dad. Because that's your fault.
This is your fault. We know Nora's going to get pretty seriously injured. Okay, so I read that part of it. Never mind.
Yeah, right. So...
Do we get to see Barry put himself in Cicada's shoes, since being vengeful over his child's injury is kind of what Cicada's going through too?
Interesting.
That's a big thing that we're dealing with this season, legacy and parenting and how people respond to the same sort of scenarios. Ultimately, it's Barry and Cicada as fathers and how they view the world and how their daughters influence their lives. There's a lot of parallels between the two. It's just one takes a darker road than the other.
Yeah. But it's going to be interesting to see how he deals with it as opposed to how Cicada does.
Yeah.
Because you know that with past experience, we know Barry's going to get very pissed off and go unhinged to go after the dude.
But because he's grown as a character, I'm hoping that they will make it so that he deals with it in a better way and doesn't screw everything up like he did before.
He's going to screw everything up. Unfortunately. It's just how it is.
Didn't happen in season 4.
So.
Is there any room for redemption for Cicada, or has he passed the point of no return?
Yes.
Well, it's not like we can have them stop this guy and not pay and him not pay for. There's got to be consequences. He's murdering people, but you should feel conflicted, because I think everybody can understand his ire. It's just maybe not the best way to deal with it.
I think that
going around murdering people, I think there's part of him that can be redeemed for sure, but there's got to be consequences for his actions.
He gets the chair.
Now that we know Killer Frost is impervious to his powers, is she kind of their secret weapon in this fight against him? Yeah, there's a lot of fights with this dude in the future, so having Killer Frost around certainly comes in handy. She will play a pivotal part in his future.
Whose future?
Cicada's. What can you say about Caitlyn's journey to find and save her father, and where that storyline is headed next? We'll definitely see Icicle again, and she needs to come to terms with exactly what he did to her. Not only is it sort of the end to her wondering about her father, it also plays a huge role in the meta-human cure storyline. Interesting.
Well, I mean, they are using his experiments to create metahumans in order to uncreate.
Yeah, but I mean, the way she felt about the serum,
Mhm.
like, if her dad comes into the picture, like, you know, that might
Yeah.
affect that.
The fact that I mean, I get that they were both dying of an illness, and that he wanted to save his daughter, and he thought that, oh yeah, this totally untested serum, I'm gonna stick it in my daughter. That he thought that was okay. That.
And then the last thing is that Danielle Panabaker is slated to direct an episode this season. Can you preview anything about that? We're breaking that story right now. It's going to be a really cool episode, and I think it's a story that Danielle will crush. We're all excited. She's about as smart as they get, so I have all the faith in the world that she'll knock it out of the park.
She's like on my top 5 favorites of all time.
So yeah, that's a little bit of like spoilery in stuff that we can expect in the upcoming episodes.
Yes.
At least for the last half of the season.
Right. When I saw him punch Nora in the back for next week's episode, it didn't even make me think at all about when Barry got his back broke. I don't even remember that happening. Because, like, he heals so quick, he was basically just, oh, that happened? Okay, let's go. You know?
Yeah.
So, when I saw that happen, I was like, my mind went to Batman. Because...
Batman! Batman! Such an annoying theme song.
Right. But, because Bane broke Batman's back, like, he snapped it over his knee. Oh, crunch. Anyways,
excuse me, sorry!
Damn!
It's the water.
Stop drinking. I'm not editing tonight's episode. Too tired. Anyways, I'm just like, I was like, oh my gosh, she's gonna be down for the count. She's not gonna be able to help for a while, but she also has the healing properties. So how is that gonna even affect them? She's injured for 5 minutes. Oh no!
Maybe it'll be a little different for Nora, though. I don't know. We'll see.
But yeah, that's really my whole... I'm proud of Nora for taking your dad's advice and forgiving Weather Witch.
Me too.
I'm proud of Weather Witch for making it look like it was Killer Frost that kind of, like, you know, was stopping them by icing up the road. And then, like, that she helped... I mean, yeah, she escaped with Silver Ghost.
Which, that car that was at Argus was pretty freaking awesome, okay?
They said Wayne Tech.
That was a freaking, like, 1970s muscle car that was like a Chevelle Super Sport that had a stripe down the middle, like, 2 stripes down the middle. Like, I've seen those kind of cars at, like, vintage car shows, okay? They're awesome.
They are. When she unveiled the car and I saw the silver and, like, the type of mirrors it had, I'm like, that makes me think of, like, a modern day Bond.
Right? That's totally a car that Bond would have. Especially, like, the older movies, like, in the 70s and 80s.
Because it's a decked out car that has special
All
abilities.
I saw was the SS on the grill part, and I was like, oh, it's one of those super sport, like, 1970s muscle cars. Like what my dad has, except he doesn't have a super sport. But he still has a nice car.
Yep. But, like, I like how how it had like all those like different like abilities that it can do,
Mhm.
like all the technology they put
Yeah.
into it.
Mhm.
But she said Wayne Tech. It had Wayne Tech in it. So
So
that
it's like a Batmobile, but not.
this is true. But that also means
Not shaped like a bat.
Batmobile isn't shaped like a bat.
In like the older movies in the show, it is, I think.
No, it has like
It has like the wings on it.
no.
Oh.
It's
Whatever.
It's shaped like a normal car, but in the nose part, like for the engine area, it has like the sides go out a little further, and so the insides like that is kind of.
So it looks like it kind of has the wingspan of a bat.
Yeah. It kind of made it look like how like the netted
Yeah.
bit.
That's what I was kind of trying to say, but it wasn't coming out.
When you said wings, I pictured like
I didn't mean that it was like actually
side.
shaped like an actual bat. I just meant that like when I've seen it, it has like almost like it looks like the wings are coming on like the sides of the car, so it looks like it's supposed to be a bat, like for Batman.
Right.
But I'm not that familiar with Batman, so.
But like, I'm still like, this means that Batwoman takes place in the Arrow universe, not the Supergirl universe.
Well, yeah, in the crossover, Batgirl appeared and Batwoman appeared in
yes,
the Arrow part of the crossover.
And the Arrow and Flash part, yes. But it was also crossing dimensions. It was crossing universes.
Yeah.
And things were getting weird. So you couldn't tell for sure where she came from.
Yeah.
Was she in this universe or was she just bleeding over from another one? Mm-hmm. But she's in this universe. She is an Earth 1, baby!
Earthling.
So she's from our universe, so that's totally cool. So, yeah, I like the actress. I saw her on Orange Is the New Black. That's where I was introduced to.
I don't watch that show.
Yeah. Well, she got with the main character for a while.
There's a lot of shows.
Yeah.
A lot of Netflix shows I don't watch.
Well, I don't really watch anymore. But...
I watch Glow, but I don't watch Orange Is the New Black.
So.
And Glow is interesting. It takes place in the 1980s. It's about an all-women wrestling like group. Well, Glow stands for Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling.
Yeah.
And it was in the 80s, like in the 80s, they actually had a show where like it was about these women who were wrestling. And so the show Glow is supposed to be kind of like based off that. But it's interesting because it's on Netflix, so it's the more mature content.
Right.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Stranger Things season 3 premieres on July 4th.
I have to watch season 1.
It comes out on July 4th. The whole season. Season 3. Sorry.
I have to watch season 1.
You just need to watch the show, girl.
I do. But
of any Netflix show, that's my favorite. Of the ones that I've seen. Even over Fuller House.
Damn.
Yeah. I mean, the only reason I'm watching that is because of DJ and Steve. Let's be real.
Yeah.
If they didn't have them together, I probably would stop watching it.
But yeah, so I've seen her on a few different things, and I've really enjoyed her. So I love that they're name dropping and getting ready for the show that she's gonna show up in. Well,
because I don't watch Arrow, so
yeah.
Not anymore, anyway.
I want her to make another guest appearance. One that's not a crossover event.
Yeah.
I'm
sure she will.
Yeah. So that's some stuff I'm looking forward to. Anything you're looking forward to?
I'm just looking forward to like the upcoming episodes. Like I'm glad that it's coming back, and you know anything we get with like West Allen or just like family stuff or whatever. Like I'm all for it.
Yeah.
Because I like the Flash, so I don't really have that many issues with The Flash. Sometimes I have a few, but it doesn't negate me from liking the show any less.
Mm-hmm.
With other shows, however, it has, but not with The Flash.
Yeah.
So it's lighthearted enough to where, like, even if there's something that bothers you that a character does, like, it's still a good show.
Yeah.
Like, at the end of the day, you're still like, it's about family, and it's about this, and it's about that. And, like,
which is why, even though I hated Barry for the entire season, I was still able to watch the show.
Right, because, yeah, I mean, like, the first part of season 4 was good.
Mm-hmm.
Up to, like, the wedding, and then after that, it was like, no.
Yeah, like, Barry can go away.
So.
But, I mean, tonight, just every time they use, I love the relationship Caitlin has with Killer Frost.
Yeah, I like it too.
But
there's a but.
And there's always going to be a but in this subject from now on.
Okay.
And it pisses me off.
Why?
She didn't struggle long enough.
Struggle long enough with morphing them together?
Yeah. Like, we found out the only way to make her, like, come out, the only way is if people she cares about are in dire circumstances. Okay. And that she has to train her mind. Okay. Next episode, I've been doing that for a month and I'm okay now.
But I mean, you have to realize that a lot of shows do that.
Yes, but they've done that with her twice.
I mean, a lot of shows are not consistent with things like that. They speed it up and they make it only be like a day or the next episode before.
But they let Cisco suffer for almost half the season.
Probably because they wanted to further the Killer Frost story faster. So instead of letting her have a longer time to struggle with that, they just were like, all right, she's good with her. They're best buds now. Let's just move on.
Yeah, I mean, I don't care about them being best buds. Like, I actually like the progression that they showed us of Killer Frost and Caitlin.
Yeah. How
they progressively started caring about each other and how they became, like, sisters, basically. Which does really remind me of a fanfic I wrote.
Oh,
anyway. I'm serious! Sisters sharing the same body because of, like, mental trauma.
I've never read any of your fanfics.
No, you haven't. They're bad.
They're bad as in, like inappropriate bad?
No!
Or just badly written?
Badly written.
Okay. Because, I mean, I don't care about the inappropriate stuff. I've read mature fanfics.
I crumpled up my papers on mature content and threw them away. For the most part. Anyway! Some of it's online. You can't throw that away.
You can delete it.
Not if it's on a website.
You can delete it.
No.
You can go in and remove it.
Not if it's a roleplay. Anyway.
Are you still doing said roleplay? Then you can remove it.
No, I enjoy reading it. Anyway, I just skip over the nasty bits. Okay?
Oh my lord. Those are the best parts.
It's a little weird for me.
I'm just kidding.
But like.
No, honestly, like, I've read them, but honestly, like, I like reading those sweet, fluffy, like, one-shot fanfics. Like, the stuff where it's just, like, really small, sweet, like, intimate things. Because I always say that on these, too. Like, those are the things that I love with the couples as well.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't need to be some, like, big, huge, like, sexy times, grand gesture thing. I just enjoy seeing them together.
Right.
Like,
the relationship isn't that. It's
like holding hands or like forehead kisses or just like, sweet kisses or whatever,
Right.
Like just showing how much they love each other.
Mm-hmm. If you have any nice fan fiction on the internet, clean crap, okay? About Flash, like, send us a link.
Oh, there's some good Flash fics out there on fanfiction.net and stuff.
Oh, I'm sure there's some good miraculous stuff out there. Oh my gosh.
I wrote one shot for West Allen one time, like a couple years back. Because, like, I was doing a Secret Santa thing on Tumblr, and, like, you get, you know,
Right.
they give somebody to you, and then, like, you talk to them, and you find out, like, what they would want, like, a graphic or a fic or a video or something. And so I ended up writing, like, a one-shot that was, like, about Barry and Iris.
Nice.
It's not very good. I don't think it's very good. But it's cute.
Yeah. But, I mean, I like that whole, like, split, like, sisterly thing. Because it reminds me of, I mean, even though it wasn't exactly a good fanfic, it was the coolest idea I'd had up until that point. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. And it was something she didn't know because she didn't know she had this other side to her. And it was, like, really cool. And I was like, ah! And, like, seeing how they, like, bring the two together in the show, like, it just reminds me of that, and, like, it makes me happy.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's some people who legitimately can't write that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
They're like, I can only write sweet things. I can't write smut. I can't write explicit stuff.
No, it's so hard.
That
was not meant to
title of your sex page. I used it! Yay! I'm so proud of myself!
It's difficult to write that type of stuff because it's just so weird.
No, like, I have major, like, respect for people that are able to write that.
Yes, I won't read it, but yes.
Like, not respect in terms of the fact that I can't do it, but just, like, respect in the fact that they're able to go there.
Yeah.
Like,
or that they're able to make it sound so
interesting. Like, they're able to make it seem so realistic.
And romantic a lot of the time.
Like,
or just not, and then I don't read it.
I'll read fics, and I'm like, you are literally getting into their heads so well.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you write so amazingly. Yeah. And it doesn't even have to be, like, something explicit. Mm-hmm. Like, they'll just write, and it's like, it just flows, and it's so great. Like, I want to read everything that they wrote. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. Anyway, rant done. Right.
But, you know, like, I just love that aspect that they did. I have no issue with that.
You just have an issue with the fact that she didn't take longer to actually, you know, be like, okay, this is, you know, happening.
Well, no. My issue comes to where the first time when they were, like, trying to have control over Killer Frost is like, they're going to kill puppies. Okay, I'm Killer Frost. Right? Yeah. Like, that's how they did it. Mm-hmm. And that really pissed me off. But I got over it. Because they stopped doing that. Because they didn't... It was just like, they became one. They could... When something needed to be done, the other took over. Like, it was how it was done. I was like, okay, this is much better. Just don't mention killing puppies to make her turn. And I was okay. But... Then they turned around and made it impossible. They cut the connection. She was no longer able to connect again. And I was like, okay, I want Killer Frost back. I want her back. I loved the character. I loved their dynamic.
And then when they brought them together and they were able to connect, it didn't take long enough for her to, like, you know, bring it in, like, be part of her consciousness.
I needed, like, I would have been fine if they did it the way they did it. But, like... Give us moments where she's thinking back to the times when she was still struggling. Yeah. Give us, like, a history of how she was able to reconnect. Mm-hmm. Show us. Don't tell us. That is not something you tell. That is a show moment. Right. And you effed up, and that pisses me off. Yeah. So, I will always have an issue with the character because of that.
And that's the writer's fault, not the character's fault.
Exactly. But
so thanks, writers. Mm-hmm. You've really pissed off a fan.
Yes. I mean...
Who loves Killer Frost and Caitlin.
Yes. And this is coming from someone who stopped watching Supernatural, one of her most favorite shows, because they kept doing that.
I'm still watching Supernatural, but I'm watching it more casually. I'm not watching it, like, as diligently as I used to when we were doing that. When we were doing the reviews.
I stopped because they kept promising us that things would last.
Oh,
things
right.
don't last.
No, but like the whole Michael thing did come into play in the finale before it went on hiatus, though. So even though he wasn't Michael, even though Michael wasn't possessing Dean again, like you still saw Michael because he was possessing someone else,
right,
and they were having them do these things.
Right, but it was supposed to still be Dean.
It was, but it did come into play for Jack because Jack was like gonna die, like he was getting weaker and stuff, and so they needed like archangel blood,
right,
or grace, and so Michael came back into play for that. But yeah, in terms of like Dean's being Michael for a long amount of time, no, it was only like 2 episodes, like it was in season 10 with the Demon thing.
Which is why I don't watch anymore. I might watch every once in a while. Like if I
watch the episode, I usually like watch it like a few days later. I don't watch it when it's on. I do sometimes, like I'll put it on.
Recording it.
Like I'll put it on and I'll watch it.
I have like 12 episodes on my record list,
but I don't completely pay attention. So that means that you still have some from the last season to watch because.
Yeah, I didn't finish last season because I said F you.
I'm really curious to see if it's going to go an extra season after this or not.
I hope not. But yeah, that's our outlook on a lot of different things that you were...
Sorry it's so long tonight.
But you learned a lot of new stuff about us.
If you gotten this far, we appreciate you.
We very much appreciate you.
Because we're really trying not to have them be this long,
yeah. But yeah, if you run across any like sweet fanfics, like this.
Oh, I could just go on fanfics.net and find them.
But you know what? Like some people find stuff on other sites.
True.
And
if you've got any fic recommendations, send them our way.
Yes.
Whether through Twitter or through YouTube comments, like, I will gladly accept them.
And then she'll tell me if they're good, and then I'll read them.
I mean, I'm sure that they'd be fine. If it's, like, a mature one, though, I'm not going to be like, oh, here, read it. I'll just be like, no, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's all good. I mean, they're already married. It's not like we don't know that they do sexy stuff. Like, we don't need it written out in a fic for us, thank you.
Right?
Like...
My mind has plenty of that.
Exactly!
They wake up in bed together. Gee, I wonder what happened that night.
Barry can vibrate. Oh, well! Like, we can come to our own conclusions.
Yeah, I mean, I used to make lots of jokes about that. Remember, like
she did.
He can vibrate.
Like, he couldn't stop vibrating in this episode.
Yes. So like we have fun about that stuff, but we don't want to read it. But yeah. So
yeah.
if we run across anything, if we start reading them again or whatever, then maybe we'll link some in Twitter.
Maybe.
Just
always make sure that you credit the person who wrote it.
Oh, hell yeah.
Because they put a lot of time and effort into that, and they deserve to be credited.
Yes.
That goes with anything that isn't yours.
Yes. And you'll never be able to find me on fanfic. I do have an account. If you find me, you get 10 gold stars. I
don't even know what it is. Like, seriously, I don't.
She didn't know until this moment that I had an account on fanfiction.
Yeah, but I'm not going to go searching for it.
I know.
Because probably most of the fandoms that you've written for, I'm not interested in.
The only ones I've written for is... It's...
Are they just role plays?
No. I've only written fanfics for Maximum Ride.
Yeah, see, no. Yeah. I haven't watched that.
It's a book series.
Oh, a book, sorry. Yeah, I haven't read that.
James Patterson.
Oh.
YA.
Nice.
Yeah. But, yeah. So, I guess
until next time,
keep believing in the impossible.